this video is a tutorial on the hip drawbacks that I often teach in hips, core, and pelvic floor sessions. So grab a blanket, fold it up, and then place that under one knee. I'm going to place this under my left knee. The hands are going to come underneath the shoulders here. And my knee that's on the floor, my right knee, I'm going to tuck those toes. Those toes are going to stay on the floor here. Now with the hands down, looking for a neutral position. So ribcage stacked in line with the pelvis. Right? No sinking in the mid-back, low back, or even in the shoulder girdle, but that sense that the back body is trying to push up against the ceiling here. So there's a nice engagement on the front line, a nice sense of ease in the hip flexors here. And then sending my left knee down into the blanket, I'm going to pull the right knee off the floor and then put the right knee back down. Right? So just lifting the right hip up towards the ceiling so the right knee comes off the floor and I'm putting the right hip down. If I had a marble on my pelvis, when I lifted the right hip, the marble would roll to my left hip. And when I put the right knee down, the marble would roll to my right hip. So I'm going to change my angle so you can see this from a different angle. I'm going to draw that right hip back and place that right hip down. So the knee is what's coming off the floor here, but it's also a little bit along for the right. And you might notice when I pick my right leg up, that leg is coming in a little bit to the midline. I'm not winging it out, right? So it's not clamshells, right? It's much more release in that right hip. I can dangle that right leg and it won't fix or shift anything, right? That left hip is really what's doing all the work. The other thing to notice is I'm not shifting my body weight left to get the right knee up off the mat, right? I am drawing that right hip back, and that is what's pulling that right knee up. I'm just going to switch sides because my left hip's getting a little tired. Right? So with my left knee down, my left toes tucked, right? Again, that left side of the pelvis lifting up. If you're feeling tension in the front of that left hip, or right hip, in front of the hip that's moving, right, you might actually be tucking your tailbone. So if we go back to the beginning, we're saying neutral pelvis, which for some of us means we actually have to tip our pelvis forward a little bit more, right? Then pull that thigh bone up into the hip socket, pulling that left hip or right hip, whichever hip's moving on you, up into the air. Or you might even get the sense that the knee that's down on the blanket, you're pushing that knee down into the blanket. And you can start to feel that work, those deep rotators, but you can also start to feel a little bit of lower X work happening there as well in regards to stabilizing. It's a great exercise for those hips, core, pelvic floor, making that connection. So these are things that you can look out for the next time you're in a session doing the hip drawbacks. Thanks for watching. Let me know how it goes.